Hey everybody, this is Claire, and this is Small Joyful Things. As always, I go to estate sales or thrift stores, or sometimes I buy things from Craigslist, and I'm always looking for things that I think you guys might enjoy or that I personally find interesting. And then I bring them home, try and find out as much as I can about them, and then tell you guys about them. So here's what I've got today. I have this lovely and very unusual glass dish. It's quite small, it's only like a trinket dish. And you can see that it's quite nice, isn't it? You can just about see kind of through it. You can see the different layers of glass there. It's obviously got multiple layers in it. It has a layer of white that has been kind of shorn off and then pressed again, kind of a thing. I'm pretty sure this is pressed glass, this is not blown. But they've done it in such a way to kind of give it multiple layers, which are just obviously sliced off there and there. So whoever did it was very, very clever in how they did it. But before we get into this, let's measure it off, and it's kind of hard to kind of work out how. I'm gonna go with the widest point, or maybe say 5.5 inches there. Yeah, let's say 5.5 there, because that's kind of a widest part there, the lobes, and it is about 1.75 inches high. Where my measuring tape hates me. Anyway, so I bought this in a thrift store for $4 because basically it's art glass, and as you all know, I have a problem, and if I see art glass I'm tempted to buy it, especially when it's something that's small and unusual and very clearly well made. Again, I did the usual thing, ran my hand all the way around the rim, inside and outside, looking for chips, and I also did it on the base, and luckily in this case, no damage of any kind, no chips, no cracks, no nothing. It is a little hard to tell. You can kind of see there are swirls, and that may indicate that may kind of look to be a crack, but it's actually not. That's actual swirls in the white layer. It is definitely intact, which is the important thing. And on the underside, there's that nice milk glass, and you can see it's clear right there. And it's going to be hard to see this. You can also see that mark, and it's incredibly faint. And yeah, so I essentially saw this in a thrift store, and I thought it was very, very pretty. And I saw the mark underneath of the base, and I thought, that's really interesting, because I generally don't see a lot of marks for whatever reason, especially on pressed glass. Like, I know that there are manufacturers who definitely would have pressed like their mark or whatever into the base, especially like Fenton, for example. Like, that was definitely a thing. Fenton started pressing their marks into all of their pieces. I just generally don't see it very often, even though I have seen like quite a bit of Fenton at this point. So this was kind of like, oh, okay, that's really cool. That's a mark. Maybe I can puzzle out enough of it to figure out who made it. And I will say this much, I was once again completely defeated by this, and I ended up having to go to the lovely people at the Glass Collecting subreddit and asked for their help. Please tell me, what is this? Do you guys have any idea? And straight away I got an answer. This is a dish by Sasaki, which is a Japanese company. Again, I live in Vancouver, and Vancouver has a very, very large Asian population. A lot of the times, you see a lot of kind of Asian bric-a-brac in thrift stores. You'll see kind of like weird, like Chinese stuff, or like little figurines that are definitely Japanese or vintage Japanese. You see a lot of that kind of thing. So the fact that this showed up in a Vancouver thrift store, like, not unusual at all. This stuff is fairly typical. I don't think I've ever actually seen anything like this before, so I say this is probably the first piece of Sasaki glass that I've come across so far. I will probably have to start doing a little bit more research on Japanese glass specifically, because there is quite a bit of it out there, and I should probably be recognizing it. I am more likely to see it because of where I live. But there's all that. So first thing we've got, in 2002, the Sasaki glass merged with Toyo glass. The two of them became Toyo Sasaki glass in Japan. They are still around today, by the way. They are makers of what's generally considered to be incredibly high quality glassware. I've checked the sold listings on eBay, I'll get to them in a second, but they're generally really, really good stuff. I have here their website, and they have this very interesting dual timeline of both the companies until you get down to the end here, when they merged in 2002. But this is really nice. It's kind of like, will give us a kind of a ballpark figure. Sasaki on its own, using the mark on the base of this, which is called the 3S mark, that's just for Sasaki. We know that now it's prior to 2002, because obviously in 2002 they became Toyo Sasaki. So what else have we got? Well, first of all, here we have a great example from 20th century glass. Again, 20th century glass is generally considered to be, I would consider them to be very, very reliable. If they say that something is a particular manufacturer, they're usually right on the money. So what we've got here, Sasaki Japanese purple cased glass ashtray, and you can see that it is very, very similar in make to this one here. Like, the casing is similar, the little lobes bit there, the lobes at the end there, they're similar. The only difference really is that this one has that unusual cutout and it's a different color, and obviously 3 lobes instead of 4. So a stunning creamy purple case, blah, 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 made in Japan, probably in the 1970s. These have been seen with the company logo for Sasaki Glass on the base, Japanese glass manufacturer. Now, again, this is the glass reference database, so this essentially was a previously listed item that has probably been sold at this point. Sold reference, yeah, there you go. But that's really good. That kind of gets us somewhat there. So anyway, here's a little bit more. Sasaki glass dishes. And again, we see more of this little type, and it looks very much like what we've got here. This is some really good, interesting information. A little bit about, like, essentially what you can collect from them. But down here, here's the white one there. Lovely. And here is the mark. Aside from the very obvious characteristics of this glass, many examples have the raised base mark, sometimes known as the 3S mark, or a label. Even without those present, you've got a very strong chance of correctly attributing to Sasaki. But there you go. There's the 3 S's. There would be on the base. And the one here is just very hard to see because it's it only got kind of half impressed as far as I can tell. But you can definitely, if I can get this to, it's kind of hard to see on the white. You can just about see the edge of it there. The impression of it is definitely there. And I find it really fascinating though, because I looked at this as well. It's like if you see like something shining through the white part, it comes through orange. Why? You know, I don't know. It's just a very interesting little piece. But anyway, this is some good information about Sasaki, essentially the collecting of Sasaki anyway. And you can see that it does have these kind of cut out elements, which is really lovely. And they did go for this kind of lobe pattern quite a bit. There's one with 6, for example. There's more of the cutouts in red or cranberry. Can you imagine what that would look like? That's kind of gothy, to be honest. Still kind of here for it. Anyway, this is pretty good. This is really nice, but what is it actually worth? And for that, we got to go to eBay. So what I've got here is the recently sold listings for Sasaki glass. Now, bearing in mind that Toyo Sasaki is still in business, so a lot of these listings will be for Toyo Sasaki, and you can see that a lot of them are fairly ridiculous. Like this one is a sake glass cup going for $90. There's a few here. This is an entire set of vintage Pierre Cardin Sasaki glasses for barware. Over $200 for the full set. Like the numbers are incredibly good. This, by the way, Toyo Sasaki glass cold sake cup. I love that style. Look at that. That's just amazingly cool. Like I said, it seems that Toyo Sasaki is well known for just producing really fantastic glass. One thing that I've seen popping up quite a bit is, I'll spot them now. There are these really beautiful wine glasses. Here we go. Oh, come on. The Sasaki Wings Clear Bowl Frosted Stem 12-ounce water glass. This lovely frosted stem with a little bird and then the fluted glass. There's a few of them here. They're just really, really pretty. I think your name says, and they're like $20 for a single glass. but yeah, so considering that there's a lot of different examples here, and it's a bit of a mix between Sasaki and Toyo Sasaki, there's, you know, there seems to be a fairly strong market for Sasaki glass. Possibly not their vintage stuff, but this is such a cute little thing that I'm pretty sure that someone's really going to like it. I would say that if if I'm going to put it up online, I'm going to probably sell it for $20 plus shipping. Just because it is so unusual. I mean, it's not going to cost a whole lot to ship, and I'm sure someone's really going to love it for that. So $20, $25, I don't know. It's going to be vintage. I would say, based on what I've read so far, this is probably from the 1970s. It's in excellent condition, and it's a very unusual and very interesting piece of glassware. So here we go. This is my small joy thing for the day. I hope you guys like it as well. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.